Chasing Lincoln's Killer, Chapter 6, Part 2. Booth faced the difficult choice of what to do next. If the doctor had betrayed him to the troops in Bryantown, Booth was a dead man. If they did not kill him on the spot at Mudd's farm, then they would escort their captured prey back to Washington for a hanging. Instead of fleeing the farm immediately, they waited for the doctor's return. After 6 p.m., Mudd finally rode down the main road and made the turn toward the farm. He was alone and brought no cavalry. Booth's judgment of Mudd's character had been correct. He had not betrayed them. Mudd could not hide his distress. He ordered Booth and Harold to leave his farm at once. Ignoring Mudd's anger, Booth focused on the priceless news the doctor had brought back from Bryantown. The president was dead, and the fame was his. Less than 24 hours after the assassination, Dr. Mudd had just given Booth the first confirmation that he had killed Lincoln. Booth might rejoice at the news of the tyrant's death, but Mudd was angry and afraid. By coming there, Booth had placed Mudd and his entire family in great danger. Yes, Mudd had agreed to help Booth with the kidnapping of Abraham Lincoln, but no one had consulted him about the murder. Now, by offering Booth his hospitality, he had unknowingly made himself an accomplice in the most shocking crime in all of American history, the murder of the President of the United States. Mudd continued to insist that Booth and Harold leave his farm at once, but he was sympathetic to the assassin's situation. He was no fan of Abraham Lincoln, the Union, or black people. Booth may have involved him and abused his hospitality, but not enough to make Mudd betray him. Mudd agreed that, as long as they left immediately, he would still help the assassins. He would not return to Bryantown and report Booth's whereabouts. He would hold his tongue and allow Booth a head start. If the soldiers came to question him, he would say only that 2 strangers in need of medical assistance stopped briefly at his farm. Then he would send the manhunters in the wrong direction. Mudd gave Booth the names of 2 trustworthy local Confederate operatives, William Birtles and Captain Samuel Cox. Then Mudd explained the route to the next stop on their underground rebel railroad. They must travel southeast in a wide arc to avoid the troops in Bryantown. About 2 miles south, they would find the Birtles place. Cox's farm was several miles further southwest, and from there they would be close to the Potomac River. Mudd also gave Booth the name of a doctor on the Virginia side in case his leg continued to trouble him. David helped Booth climb onto his horse and handed him the crude crutches Mudd had made for him. Mudd, relieved by their leaving, watched them ride off until they vanished from sight. It was around 7 p.m., 15 hours since the assassins had arrived at Mudd's door, and just under 24 hours since John Wilkes Booth had shot the president. As dusk faded to dark, Booth and Harold continued south, careful to watch for signs of cavalry. The pair had a long night's ride ahead of them, but they had survived the first day, undetected. Although Dr. Mudd had shown Booth the route they must take, Booth and Harold got lost. They were fortunate to come upon a local man, Oswald Swan, half black, half Piscataway, who, for $7, agreed to take them directly to Captain Cox's place. Oswald Swan earned his pay this night. He guided them safely through the Zekia swamp with its muck, snakes, and wild overgrown vegetation to the doorstep of Captain Samuel Cox. It was after midnight, April 16th, Easter Sunday.